today on this SHOKY, not quite quickie because I'm not doing the normal intro, we're going to look at the new Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pumpkin Wrapper, and it's the second in the new monster line that they've done. And of course, I got this a little while ago on the in the kitchen video, and of course we looked at Sphinx last time, King Sphinx as it were. And something you'll notice comparatively to the out the box reaction, or rather the out of in the kitchen, when I pulled it out, I have done some work to it, including painting in the cracks and the eyeballs, the chest, and I have weathered him a little bit more to lose some of the strangeness that they didn't bother. And I can already hear some of those people clackety clack clack on the keyboards. I know the original suit wasn't like that, but guess what? It doesn't look as good without it. That's why they put it woohoo on the artwork right here. Speaking of that, so you got the artwork, Power Rangers logo, looks pretty good. Come to the back, and yes, look, it's not really there, but the thing that they were lacking at very least was a good heavy wash in there. It was actually lighter inside the cracks than it was on the outer skin originally. And also there was no wash inside here where it's supposed to be dark, and the body basically, as one reviewer put it, looked like a carrot. So let's go ahead and get him out here. And I have had him out obviously to do the paint work, and I did mess with him a little bit. So I do know a little bit about the figure, and well, his accessories are a little strange to me, but we'll figure it out. So let's see here. We have a slightly open hand. It does look like it's meant to hold something kind of thick, as strange as that sounds. Whoa. Well, we had a closed fist. It's gone now. Located after the fact. We have a vine whip. We have the extended vine whip, so that's kind of cool. They give you that. We have his tornado of power. It's a little stiff, but also kind of gummy. But, you know, it's a little bit. And then we have 3 pumpkins, which is probably going to be hard to get out. I have not removed these before it. Okay. Top one came out okay. Or maybe I did take one of them out. Either way, let's get him out. Come on, pumpkin boy, it's your plastic birthday. Boof. Alright. Throw that over there. Where did that hand go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's take a look at him. Set the accessories off to the side here. And you can see the head is just a big ginormous upside down jack-o'-lantern, which is really all he was. And even though that is technically a matte black in there, it does have a little bit of shine to it due to the kind of high gloss that the pumpkin head already had on it. And I'm sorry, you're not going to tell me that looks better. It just doesn't. The other thing is I added matte black to the kind of, you know, stitched together body there, because that's how he actually looks. That is sort of blacked out a little. And then I added a little bit more shading throughout. There already was some airbrush, but I darkened it a little bit using some Gundam marker, dark green, Real Touch type. Same thing here. I added the shading so that there was some separation there. And then the body had zero weathering on it. You see here on this inner thigh, that's what the entire thing looked like. And so I added some weathering to make him look a little bit more like he's part of the world. And of course, getting this head off is not easy. I did remove it to paint it. It is one huge ball joint in there. And then this guy here is on there pretty good. This I did paint all the way up underneath. This is a very interesting soft plastic dealy. It is on a ball joint, but it is so tight that like it really does take some wiggling to move. And then, of course, this moves a little bit. I think at some point he kind of played with this extra tentacle. Like, that might have been, or tentacle, vine, whatever. I think that might have been what he was using for his vine whip, so to speak. You do get the disc hand shoulder. You do get a butterfly joint, which is actually really good. I mean, for the most part, he is, like, essentially a ranger body, which is fine. You get bicep rotation. Once again, you come to the inside. You can see where I did not weather it. Double jointed elbows. Just got to be careful that you don't pinch his shoulder vines, shoulder grass up in there. I can see some of the weathering is a little thick, but you know what? I don't care. It could use an oil wash either way. So this is one of the holding hands on there, and it does have an in and out wrist action, which is fine. The torso does move here. He's got like a big, possibly double ball joint there, and then the ab crunch, which is good, both in and out, and I was good enough to make sure I painted all the way through there, because it's basically like wearing pajamas. You do get a super good Jean-Claude there, and you can kick really far forward. Oh, hold on. Thigh rotation. I already showed that, but it's there anyways. Airbrush green paint on the knees. And then double jointed knee, which is not bad, except that the orange comes through. But generally speaking, you're not really going to mess with it that much. You do get boot rotation, which is good. I did add some shading to the boots, which I think just added to it. It didn't have any. Like, it was just the bare, this color plastic. So just a little bit of mild shading in there just to make it good. I do like the like elf shoe kind of situation there. Though it is a little tough to get him to stand because there's a lot of movement in those shoes. And, of course, he's super top heavy. But if you keep that head like just straight up and down, he's actually pretty good. All right, so come down a little bit, and then we will look at his accessories. You do get the magic swirly bit of world here. This is weird because I believe you're meant to use this on his arm. So like he's casting his spell, his pumpkin magic, as it were. I think it's just supposed to fit on the forearm, as best as I can tell. But the arm itself is not exactly strong. I can get it to that joint there. We can do that, and then I believe you're supposed to like load a pumpkin in, so to speak. See if I can get it here on camera. Might be difficult. Come on. Before he falls. Okay, so you can do it. Like I said, these feet are not the easiest in the world. You're either going to be leaning forward or leaning backwards. But that, as you saw there, the bicep rotation kind of failed me. But yeah, he can do this. I think that at some point the hand is meant to come up and kind of grab that. Maybe that's what that hand that I dropped on the floor is for. Come here. And by the way, this was one of my favorite episodes back in the day. So I think you're meant to use this hand to sort of hold that, I think. I'm not sure. But that's pretty cool. And then you can get his like compressed vine whip. And I'm not entirely certain how he's supposed to hold this. Let's see here. Let me swap out for that other hand. Maybe it makes more sense. It's always a unsettling sound. Maybe. Get it in that finger. I mean, if it is meant to be used with this hand, it doesn't really do the thing. Like, 'cause this is so thick, but I could see this over here, like this hand holding that. It's one of those things where instructions would be wonderful, but they don't. So it's one of those things where I guess you'd have to look online, but if you're gonna do it, you can totally do it this way. I think I remember him like swinging it around like a, you know, like a tail, so to speak. But I think that's what you're meant to do with that. I could be wrong, but just a nice little feature there. And you do have a fist hand, like I said before. Okay, and then you have the capture whip, which also not 100% sure, because I think you're either meant to hold it this way, or you're meant to hold it like this way. I couldn't really determine the best way for him to hold it. Let's try it this way, like just sort of squeezing that like that. Is that right? All right, it's actually kind of working. He sort of has it, because like I had a hard time getting the normal clenching hand for that, and this is actually pretty good for wrapping up a ranger, so to speak. Let me see here. Okay. I'm fairly certain I did that wrong, but it is what it is. But you can totally wrap up a normal sized figure like so, which is pretty cool in and of itself. Like I said, I probably did that wrong. Probably meant to be more like this, or he's probably, let's see here. See, I hate it when these hands are so tight you can't get anything in there. So let's see, holding it that way, and then let's use this hand as a guiding hand. Maybe this is closer to how it wants to be. Maybe that is how it's supposed to be. So we get the feet together. So he's like that number and roping a ranger. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be like. Let's get a picture, because it's pretty cool. Okay, so next up we have his ultimate weapon, I guess. So along with the other crazy things he has there, of course, you can use the pumpkins. So these are pretty cool. I think I have to look at them. I don't know if they're all the same. No, I believe they're actually individual molds. Let's get all three. Yeah, I think all three are different molds. If so, that's cool. And of course, you have sockets, because that's what you got to do. So he could throw pumpkins at people, and they end up as a pumpkin head. And I forget if he could control them once the heads were on, or if this was just meant as a confusion tactic. Like they're like, oh god. It's pretty cool though, not gonna lie. See, that works out pretty cool. And slightly terrifying. I also now kind of want to get another 2-pack of putties just to have as pumpkin slaves for this guy. It's pretty cool if they at least gave you that ability. Actually, that'd probably be the thumbnail. Probably get him wrapped up in the vine and stuff like that, and have him capturing Jason there. So, next up, we have to do the thing. You should know by now. All right, so there he is next to our good old Red Ranger. Now, body-wise, he's barely taller, but the head is way too big. So this is closer to what I would think for the show, because the head is so massive. Although I'd still say it's a little bit big, like it should be shrunk down at least to their rough size, you know, because in theory they're roughly the same size. But this is a more forgivable scaling issue. Obviously we saw it with the putties. You can see with Rita, see, that's still not totally egregious just because of the giant head size, but I would think that the shoulders should line up with most of the figures. With Goldar, because he's like our benchmark, because Goldar was like the big dude on campus. Like no monster was necessarily bigger than him until it absolutely had to be. I want to fix that head, it was bothering me. And then, of course, with Sphinxy Boy, who we already know is significantly too big. Still a really good looking character, and these two are clearly meant to be the same size as their heads sort of line up, but I think even under normal circumstances, Sphinx's shoulders should line up to his, and this giant pumpkin head is just the icing on the cake, so to speak. And it feels like this was the original, and they went, yeah, they should all be that tall, without considering size and height are not remotely the same. And then, just because we can see it next to a Legacy Ranger. I don't want to set him down because he's got the sticky stuff on his feet. I don't want to say that that's necessarily closer in this particular case, but with Sphinx, it definitely was. So this one has a more forgivable scale, in my opinion. And then, because of course, he's got to fight the Megazord, which is probably still really close in size. I can't make an argument that these are definitely some kind of Bandai leftovers, but it's really interesting that their monster line scales to this guy. And I just wanted to see if I could get the putty effect on here, but I doubt I can just because. I don't know, I could probably get it on, just not in the same methods. So he's like attacked, like so. Could get it up under there, and he's like, it is what it is. And by the way, I didn't paint that yellow ring. That's actually on there. So it's weird to have a yellow ring painted on orange background with 0 shading. And for any kind of other scales, just because I happen to have these guys laying about, there they are, or there he is next to a Boba Fett. So you can see. Megazord out. Megazord out. But yeah, I mean, once again, the sculpt is more phenomenal. The accessories are really cool and useful because, I mean, you get, 2 different versions of the Vine Whip, which is cool. This one's slightly harder to use because I don't know how exactly to use it. Maybe it is how I had it, where he's sort of holding it in this hand and twirling it with this hand, something like that. But then it reverses to go the other way. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. And then, of course, a lot of times I feel with these effect parts, there's only a single use for them. Like, you're only going to get that one use out of it, and then after that, you're just kind of screwed. See, like, this hand sort of seems like it works better, but then the arm itself sort of gives up the ghost, as it were. Let's see. Let's load up another pumpkin and find out. Yeah, I mean, it's just, ultimately, it's going to be a little bit weepy. There's a little bit less of a detent there. I think you can get that elbow just past there. I'm not sure. But yeah, you can see that's just a little bit. Maybe that's just mine after messing with it so much. If yours does that too, let me know. I like the idea that he can, like, be pulling the pumpkin to him or getting ready to throw it. Still a neat idea. But once again, having that much weight, these pumpkins are not light, kind of at such an extension does sort of hurt it. So effect parts are what they are. The idea that you have some pumpkins, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I might do a set of pumpkin putties to go with them, just because. And then, of course, I really do dig this Vine Whip thing. So sculpt, good. Paint, lacking. And I don't care what you say, this looks better. If nothing else, a super dark wash inside here to at least get close to matching this. I mean, you can see how heavy they did a wash on that. Inside here was not as heavy. It needed to be darker. Maybe not 100% black, but you can't argue with the results. And then even shading inside here with some black and some dark green brought out a lot of those details. But guys, that's it for this review. Of course, go check out the rest of the Lightning collection. And yeah, if you dig these guys, by all means, pick them up wherever you want to. I know Target has the like specialty packaging that I have no clue what it does other than it looks neat. Otherwise, you can pick them up at BBTS. They are in stock individually, or you can buy them together. So it's up to you. If you like this Monsters line, tell me which ones down below that you're interested in getting. I need that Pudgy Pig, by all means, because that's where you first get the weapons, and they blow him up, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, it digs it. And of course, I do have a new Ranger coming. I'm excited about that. Oh, actually, yeah, okay. I do have a new Ranger coming, so I can finally make some cool stuff happen. But guys, I will see you next time. Remember, as always, keep on nerding.